I am much honored to be allowed to introduce the chairman for this event. He will effectively take us through the proceedings. This person holds postgraduate diplomas from both ETI, University of Cape Coast, and Coventry University, and a master's degree in applied research from Swiss Business School. His most recent academic accomplishment is attaining a doctorate in business administration from the Swiss Business School, with his research centered on immigration, security, and business performance. Having worked at both international and national levels, he has rich insights and perspectives, a considerable wealth of knowledge and experience with security and safety developmental issues, and a very valuable network of individuals and organizations, both within Africa and across the world. He has won several awards. The most recent is the award of the Best Security or Safety Technology Entrepreneur of the Year 2021. Which was given by the West African International Press Heroes of Distinction. He was the lone voice advocating for a national security and safety policy for Ghana. And for over 10 years till it was finally put together by the Ghana government and experts, including himself, in 2020. This document has become the first national security strategy policy document for the Republic of Ghana. Without further hesitation, I present to you Dr. Kaziri Adam Bona. Thank you.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Thank you very much, Ms. Ago, for this energetic introduction. Wow. Thank you so much. Shall we please welcome Dr. Bona for his remarks, please?
Thank you very much, and I'm humbled, Ms. Ago, for your elaborate introduction. Let me use this occasion to welcome all of you to the maiden virtual event organized by the UPSA. When I had the invitation by my good old friend, I've known him for probably close to 20 years, Dr. Owari, when he called me and said he would want me to chair, I asked him, why would you want me to chair? And he said, you have to chair this for me. And I said, well, I will do it. I don't have a choice. And so let me use this occasion before I proceed with my brief remarks, accept to chair this event. It is important that we all take, judicious notice of, technology driving the world, and therefore it's important for an innovative university like yours to start this event, and it's the maiden event, and I'm privileged to have been invited to chair this event. Let me acknowledge all of you, all the protocols observed, Professor Bano, the Vice Chancellor, the Pro Vice Chancellor, the Dean, IT Studies, the Vice Dean, Head of IT Studies, and all of you, the MC. And I can see many participants from across watching us. I would want to say that we would have to go specifically by the time. I believe we are not behind time. If we are, I would relook at the time again, and we need to fast track, whatever we are doing to ensure that technology doesn't wait for anybody. And so I would say that it's a privilege and to be here and not to have driven myself or with my driver to your campus to come and chair this, but doing it virtually. And I can see internet speed across the screens looks very good. And so once again, let me humbly accept the chairmanship of this maiden event. And I'm going to sit back, observe, listen, and I would hope that contributors would be very brief so that it doesn't become too boring. Technology is not supposed to be boring. So that the next time the university organizes such a program, we would have millions of people watching us from all over the world. I can see the number is growing. And so once again, I would want to accept the chairmanship of this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bona.
Thank you.
It is with special excitement that I am pleased to welcome Dr. Mohammed Siraj to talk about demystifying online fraud on today's section. He is our guest speaker, actually. Dr. Siraj is the head of IT and a lecturer at Wisconsin University, International University College, Ghana. He has over 20 years of experience in the IT industry. He had his bachelor degree at the University of Ghana in economics and psychology. He further obtained his master's degree in information and communication technology from Aalborg University. He recently completed his PhD in computer science from the University of Putra, Malaysia, in the field of security in computing, with a specialization in blockchain security. He is a renowned certified ethical hacker and a certified hacking and forensic investigator from the EC Council. He is a cybersecurity consultant and a principal trainer of various courses at Tertiary Courses, a subsidiary business division of Tertiary Infotech Pit Limited, Singapore. He has consulted for several organizations, especially in education industry in Ghana and abroad. He also pioneered cybersecurity and forensic short courses in various tertiary institutions in Ghana. Several professionals in Ghana from private and public institutions, such as the military, police, bankers, accounting, and etc., have taken and still benefit from such courses. He co-founded the Tertiary Course Ghana branch, and he is the preferred trainer for the blockchain essential, smart contract and D-apps developments, which is JavaScript and Python, cybersecurity, ethical hacking, Unipath automation, Google Workspace, Microsoft Office, specifically Excel and Access, all in Singapore, Malaysia, and Ghana. He developed and currently acts as the subject matter expert for the 5-day ethical hacking specialization training at Tertiary Courses in Singapore, Malaysia, and Ghana. Besides the cybersecurity and blockchain, his other areas of expertise includes, but not limited to, PC hardware, which are upgrading, repairing, and maintenance, web application development, database management, office process automation, cloud computing, Google Cloud Platform, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. Also, data science, scripting, and under scripting, he does Python, JavaScript, Google App scripting, and so forth. And not leaving Cisco networking out. Dr. Siraj, your audience, please.
Okay, let's see my screen. Please, can you see me?
Sir, no, we can't see you.
We can't see you.
My face.
We can see you.
Okay.
Yes, we can see you.
So do you think I'm laughing or I am moody?
Please, we can see you.
Okay, this is not to scare you, but to introduce myself. Thank you very much.
Better.
Thank you. Please, am I audible on the call? Can you hear me?
Yes.
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 Great.
Yes.
So let me share my screen. Okay. So okay. I believe you can see my slides, right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so I wear the anonymous mask. By the way, thanks to my friend Nihak, if he's on the call, thank him very much. He brought my mask today. I'm very grateful. Okay, so the purpose of wearing the mask before I start my presentation is to show you that at a point you need to be anonymous, or at least implement some level of pseudo anonymity. I know these are jargons. We'll be breaking them down as we move on. There's no need to expose yourself too much on the internet because there are so many faces, good ones and bad ones on the internet. And that is what we are going to explore today. The other reason is to also let you know that the purpose of one of our main goals for this training is to unmask or to expose the activities of the fraudsters. If some of them happen to be on the call, and then we'll try as much as possible to disappoint them. But they are not our target audience. Our target audience are the innocent ones. And we are here to experience and see exactly how the bad guys operate. Just as has been mentioned, the webinar is not going to be your typical webinar, which is coming to class and presenting academic subject. But of course, we'll be doing some presentation which will entail a level of explanation, but our main focus will be on the demonstration. So once again, my name is Mohammed Siraj. First of all, I would like to thank God Almighty for this beautiful day. Finally, we are here. And I'll also like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. So who am I? Okay, so that has been done already, and thanks so much. The other thing that was left out, and for a very good reason, is that I'm currently a certified data protection supervisor. I just completed my certification last week. So it's a very fresh certification that I got. Okay, so, and I'm also the leader of Anura Islamia, an Islamic NGO in Ghana, made up of experts from so many fields, doctors, engineers, teachers, lecturers, and so forth. Right, so that's my humble self. The objectives for today will be for us to actually understand what cyber online fraud is, and to also know some of the techniques used by the hackers, and also learn what social engineering is all about. And we'll also get to the point where we will get to know some of the examples used on the online space. We also do live demonstrations, and this is our main goal, to be able to demonstrate some of the activities. So this is a very practical session, but just that I want to give a heads up. The idea is not to get you to be able to do it exactly as I'm doing it, or I'm about to do it, but to let you know how it is done, right? So you understand when you are told to have a very strong password and to protect yourself, use multi-factor authentication, avoid shoulder stuffing and all that. I believe you've gotten a lot of webinar lectures on that already. But probably what some of us may be missing is exactly why we are being told to do some of these things. The practical aspect. Why am I being asked to have a strong password? I believe some lecturers, not only UPSA, any other universities as well, you ask them to provide or password some of their exam scripts, and before you know, they are putting their date of birth and all that. They are not actually implementing strong password implementations. And we are going to see how easy it is to be able to crack some of this password and how you can actually protect yourself. We also look at the defense side. So even though we'll be looking at the offensive side, because we are talking about online fraud, we'll also, as and when the opportunity comes, we'll be looking at the defense side and some of the ways that you can defend yourself. I believe, is my connectivity okay? And am I audible on the call?
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much. And so before I move on, I need to make this disclaimer. It's very important to me. The information and demos in this webinar are for educational purposes only. This is very important for us to know. And they are done to demonstrate security lapses, especially on the part of users. They are therefore not to be used for illegal or malicious purposes. And you should always remember that you are responsible for your actions and try to stay out of trouble and help fight crimes. Okay, so this is why we are here, and we want to let you know that we are not here to encourage committing online fraud, because if you do, you have to answer to the appropriate authorities, including the police. Okay, so I'll repeat this disclaimer when we get to the live session and demo session. Hopefully everything goes well. I believe we've all heard these maxims, and there's a whole debate, but of course, if you go into it in context, you get to understand why you get to hear this. What you hear some people say, what you do not know cannot hurt you, versus what you do not know can hurt you or can kill you. Okay, so I don't want to go into the debate and the explanations in this, but the only thing I want to say here is that the second one applies in our particular situation now. In our context, the one that applies is the second one. What you do not know can really hurt you. If you don't know how the bad guys operate, you will not be able to protect yourself adequately, and therefore you get hurt, right? And this, I believe, is the spirit behind our this particular webinar, to show you exactly what the enemies do, what the bad guys do, you know, some of the techniques they use. So I believe we'll all try and benefit from that. Of course, we just take some few quotes here and there. I want to also believe that most of us are very aware of this particular man, Sun Yun. He wrote a very powerful book. It's a Chinese, The Art of What? Art of War. And one of the popular quotes in this book is what I have on the screen. If you know the enemy and you know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles, right? If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory you gain, you will suffer a defeat. And the last one, which is a very worst situation, is if you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle, right? So the goal is always to be at the first side, right? You have to know yourself, know thyself. All the philosophers in the house, they know what I'm talking about. Know thyself, know yourself very well, and know the enemy. If, for example, let's bring it home. If you don't know that thieves will be able to use, let's say, pickers or hammers to be able to break your padlock, you will not understand why you need other layer of security, such as maybe implementing CCTV and other things, right? But if you know how to prepare yourself, you know what you have, what you don't have, and then you implement it accordingly, right? And if you ask any security expert concerning the security chain, who is or what is the weakest link in the security chain, I believe without any sort of doubt that what they will tell you is that the weakest link is not the technology, it's not the systems we have in place, but us, we the human beings. The human being is actually the weakest link in the security chain. And that is the focus of fraudsters online. They know the weakness, so it's the psychology of human beings, right? They know the weakness of human beings. So if they are unable to penetrate stringent security systems, the next and the most successful attack vector is the human being sitting around these security systems. If they get through the human being, they'll be able to commit and get through the network and commit any crime at all they want to commit. Right. And experts agree. My friend, Bruce Schneier, I call him my friend because I've actually had a very personal photograph with him. He's one of the world-renowned cryptologists, and I believe most of you will agree to that. He's an American. He came to University of Ghana. He says people often represent the weakest link in the security chain and are chronically responsible for the failure of security systems. And it's so true, right? And I think the statement is self-explanatory, so no need to belabor the point. Kevin Mitnick, one of the most famous, arguably one of the most famous hackers in the world, and especially in the area of social engineering, he has found actually himself in a lot of troubles when he was young, somewhere in the 1990s. And he's now a security consultant, and he has stopped doing the bad things, and he's using his skill to do the good thing. And this is what he also has to say, that a company can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and encryption and other security technologies. But if an attacker can call just one trusted person within the company, and that person complies, and if the attacker gets in, then all that money spent on technology is essentially wasted. And is also very right? All the security things that you have, the security guy, oftentimes I get colleagues and I ask them, what security measures do you have in place and what are you doing to provide appropriate security so that you can protect your users from online fraud and online attacks and all that. They'll tell you, oh, we have firewalls. I've actually attended so many webinars, and it seems as if without firewall, there's no other security. Right. I'm not belittling firewalls. Firewalls are very important network security tools to have in place. But beyond that, you need to also look at the human beings. And in the next slide, you'll get to understand why that is so crucial. Recently, and look at the year, 2022. It's not, we are not talking about 1990, 1980, or even early 2000, 2022. Look at the company on your screen, Cisco Networks. This is the company that provides network gadgets, security gadgets. They provide, they also do provide firewalls, fire devices, and all that. It's security devices, not just a regular network switches and routers. But they got hacked. And what happened? The news items is just before you. You can visit the link and read more. One of their employees' accounts was just compromised. His Google account, that is where he was storing all his passwords. And the attack, I don't want to go into too much details. The attack that was used is now famously known as multi-factor authentication fatigue, MFA fatigue. This is where you are being bombarded with so many multi-factor authentication approvals to the extent that you give up and then you approve it, only to get a criminal to get in, right? And this is what happened at Cisco. And it's not only Cisco, we've heard about Uber and the rest, right? So this tells you that if you have all the firewalls, you have all the anti-malware and all that, and you do not have regular training in place for the human factor or the human element in the organization, you will find yourself in trouble. And that is why we have to be grateful to UPSA for having this amazing webinar. And I believe it's not going to be today or one night, one day, and then we are done. No, it's going to be continuous, and I believe we'll be having more of this, as was mentioned earlier. And it's so important because we need to actually focus more on the human element to safeguard ourselves from online fraudsters and so forth, right? Okay, so getting down to why we are here. I know the topic is demystifying online fraud, but I'm taking it from the perspective of cyber fraud, and then I'll let you know the difference in all that. Of course, when you say cyber, we are talking in relation to computing devices, networks, gadgets, mobiles, and all that. Okay, so it's very encompassing, and I just saying online. And when you say fraud, fraud has to do with when there's an intentional deception to secure unfair and unlawful gain or to deprive a victim of a legal right. Right. So example is deceiving somebody, getting hold of his credit card details and using it to withdraw money from his account. That is fraud, right? Of course, there's also a distinction between fraud and scam and all that, but don't worry, I don't want to bore you with all those details. Scam gets upgraded to fraud when you are able to steal somebody's money and all that. The scam is simply about deception, but when you are able to use that deception and commit that kind of crime, then it becomes fraud. And fraud is usually punishable by law and so forth. So when you say online fraud, you are talking about fraud happening online. When you say electronic fraud, you are talking about fraud committed with electronic gadgets. If you say internet fraud, you are talking about fraud committed with the internet. If you say computer fraud, you are talking about fraud committed by using computer and all that, right? So I believe that makes it clear. So we'll be using the terms interchangeably, but I believe the difference is well understood, right? So major attack, right? There are several attacks that can be used against a system, an individual, or a company and so forth. But one of the major attacks, so example is maybe finding ways to deploy, let's say a malware. If you infect somebody's computer with a malware without deceiving a person, without using the human element, purely computer-based, that is not social engineering per se. But you can use social engineering tricks to deploy malware in an organization. And before you know, a whole ransomware has taken an entire organization at ransom, right? Just because social engineering technique has been used against the human element and has successfully been able to deploy a malware against the systems in organization. So our focus, obviously, since we are talking about online fraud and we are talking about the human factor, the attack vector will be concentrating more on a social engineering attack. So I believe you've heard about social engineering. I know those in the social sciences also have a subject on social engineering, but in the context of information security, when you hear the word social engineering, we are talking about the art of manipulating people into performing actions or divulging confidential information. So if you are able to manipulate the human psychology or the human weakness to be able to gather information that you wouldn't have under normal circumstances be able to get from the human being, then you are implementing social engineering. So in our slang or in our country, you hear things like Sakawa and internet fraud, Yahoo, 419 and all that. Most of them, if not all of them, fall under social engineering. So you can see that social engineering is a very big subject area, but we'll do our best to condense it and then see how we can benefit from it when we are doing our demos. Okay, so what makes it dangerous is that it relies on human error, right? So we hear to forgive is divine, but to err is human, and we know human beings will always err one way or the other. They will almost always make a mistake. And that is why social engineering is almost always successful, right? When it's used against an individual or an organization, right? So some of the principles that I use in social engineering, and you'll be seeing them practically when we start doing the demos, is intimidation, agency, familiarity, liking, scarcity, and consensus. These are all principles under social engineering. Either you are being intimidated or you are being told that something is urgent, and therefore, I think some people are, if we can mute the rest, that would be great. Thank you. Okay, so intimidation, agency, familiarity, scarcity, and consensus. So sometimes you see that some of these things are being implemented by all these fraudsters against you just to be able to defraud you. So that's what we are going to see and then uncover. If you are dealing with a regular, everyday, unsavvy, as I'll call them, social engineering attackers or fraudsters, they may do some things that will give them out easily, right? They really don't take steps to study the individual and implement the attack in the right way, right? So immediately they call you, you know that this guy is a fraudster. But if you are dealing with a professional social engineer attacker, or you are dealing with a quote unquote, I don't know whether being a fraudster is a profession, so but I don't want to use the word professional fraudster. But if you are dealing with somebody who really knows how to commit fraud, the person will do his or her homework very well, to the extent that you will be taken by surprise. And we are going to see some of the techniques used, and yourself, at the end of the day, you will agree with me that if not probably for a talk or webinar like this, you would have fallen victim to such tricks. Okay, so this is a typical social engineering attack life cycle, sorry. First, they will try to prepare the grounds. And during the preparation of the ground, it is where we call the investigation stage. This is where they are trying to study you, the individual. They are trying to gather more information about you, where you stay, your name, your number, your phone number, your address, the bank you bank with, and all that. And there are so many ways to be able to get such information without even meeting you, right? Some of us leave so much information online. Our online footprint is just giving us out, right? For example, not only online, anywhere we find ourselves. For example, this morning, when I was watching TV, I don't want to mention the TV station in particular, what they were doing birthday wishes. And you hear some people, today's your birthday, happy birthday, wish you a birthday. That is fine, almost okay. But one of them, they said, happy birthday, they mentioned the name, I don't want to mention the name, and they say, happy birthday on your 40th anniversary and all that, okay? So if I'm to ask you, what is the date of birth of this person? Can't you deduce the date of birth? You can. You can immediately know that the person's date of birth is 27th October, 1982, I believe, right? So that is given, but indirectly, the person didn't come and say, my date of birth is 27th October, 1982, but for the fact that they were wishing the person's 40th birthday on a particular day, I have this information, right? And this is where they are able to gather all this information, prepare their grounds very well, and then they come to the second stage where we call the hook. This is where they now start using the appropriate, engaging with you, the target, spinning a story, making some things up and all that. And then they go to the play phase where they expand their foothold, execute the attack, whatever the attack is, whether it's to deploy a malware, whether it's to get your social security number, your PIN, mobile money PIN number, or whatever, they do that. And then finally, they exit gracefully, right? Unless, of course, you catch them, and that's when you hear some insults. And I believe most of you have experienced that. Some of them are not patient. When you catch them, they start insulting you, and that's not a graceful exit. But a professional one will exit in a manner that you may probably think that you were dealing with the legitimate person. Okay, so social engineering, I believe, how many minutes have I done so far? 28, I believe. So in the next few minutes, I'll be ending and then I'll go through the demos, the live demos, because we want to spend more time there. So just bear with me to brush through this quickly, maybe within the next 5 minutes or so. So phishing attack, this is a technique of fraudulently obtaining private information. An example is, receiving an email looking as if it's a legitimate business, asking you to click a link. And then when you click a link, you find yourself on a website, which is not really legitimate, but you don't know because the website looks like their legitimate website. Spear phishing is the same as phishing, except this one is more targeted against an individual or a particular company. Baiting is when they pick your curiosity to let you do some things that you are not supposed to do. Example is when you enter a conference and then you see a pen drive lingering around, and you think that you have gotten somebody's private information, and out of curiosity, you go and insert the pen drive in your computer. The next thing you know, your computer is infested with a malware, and that is the bait. You've taken the bait. Scareware, this is when they are scaring you with software, making you think that you are supposed to install an anti-malware. If you don't do that, then your computer will be compromised. But in actual fact, what you are installing is not the anti-malware, but is the malware itself. Pre-testing has to do with this is actually the oldest social engineering technique. Okay, this is where the person is spinning up or making up stories, lies, just to let you fall for the deception, right? The person, and usually it will be something that you can relate to. For example, if the person tells you, we are from the a telecom company, for example, and the government of Ghana is saying that you should register your SIM card. If not, you'll be blocked. So therefore, click this link and update your information to keep your account safe. Okay, it's a lie. It's using a pretest, a situation, or a cleverly crafted lie, which you can relate to, just to deceive you to thinking that this is a legitimate request being made, and then you fall for it. So that is the attack. Tailgating, it just has to do with physical security. And oftentimes we look at also the human beings, the computers and all that, and we forget the physical security as well. You can implement a very good RFID system, good biometrics and all that. But if you don't have proper user awareness, what you will find is that people can tailgate, or criminals can tailgate legitimate workers or employees, and then find themselves in a parameter that they are not supposed to be, right? So that's what you have to look out for. Okay, so real world examples of cyber or online fraud. So we'll look at ATM. Quickly, let's look at our ATM card. Okay, so we all have an ATM card. We have a debit card or credit card. If you take a good look at your card, you get these details on it. In fact, there's a lot that I can say on this, but again, this is not our focus. I don't want to be too technical on this one, but you can see there's a chip on this one. There's a mark stripe or magnetic strip or stripe, as you can call it. And you also have the verification code, the card verification code, also sometimes called a card verification value, CVV or CVC. Sometimes some even call it CID, card identification number, and all that, depending on the network that the card is coming from. You also have the hologram, you have the signature and all that. But I'm particularly concerned about this CVC, right? It is, if you take your Visa card or MasterCard or whatever card you have, and you turn the back or the front, usually the one I've seen in Ghana so far, it depends on the one you have, you're likely to see it at the back, but some have it at the front, okay? So if you look at the rear of the card, you'll see this code. This code actually, in a way, is supposed to be a secret code, right? But it seems most users are not aware of this. This code is the code that makes the card, the issuer and all that, the networks and all that, the card management people, to know that you are... Okay. Somebody should be muted. Thank you. Okay, so when you use this code, the card processing technologies get to know that the card is being used remotely. Okay, so we call it CMP, card not present. Okay, so when you go to an online shop, you see that you don't necessarily have to insert your card, but what you do is that the card number and your this CVC and your expiry date, and sometimes if they are implementing AVS is Address Verification System of Service. What happens is that you have to add your address and all that. They are all used in the authentication of your card. But usually The CVC is what is used to know that your card is being used remotely. When you are using your card on a POS system or on an ATM, you need to provide your PIN, right? And I know most people know that the PIN is what is supposed to be secret, but they think the CVC is, it can be seen by anyone. But strictly speaking, it's not supposed to be seen by anyone because, of course, there are systems in place to check that. And if the bank is really on point, they can prevent any fraud that will be used against your card. But it's something that the little I can say here, because of lack of time, is to make sure that your card CVC is not displayed, arbitrarily. Your card number is a very specialized number, and there's a way the mathematicians in the house they use Loon algorithm or mod 10 to make sure that the card numbers are valid and all that. It's a very interesting algorithm. It's a very simple one, but time will not permit me to explain it. But the chip also called
Dr. Siraj.
Yes,
please, you have 15 minutes left.
Thank you. So thank you very much for the, so let me brush you. Thank you very much for the alert. So that I go through the practicals. Okay, so skimming, this is a very typical example. This has actually been used in the past. Now it's very difficult to implement this because there are mechanisms in place to check it, but there are things that when you go to ATM, you have to take note of. This is shimming. Shimming is actually inserted in the slot so that when your card is inserted in the ATM or POS, they can be able to intercept the communication between your chip and the ATM chip. So when you insert your card in an ATM or POS and you see some resistance, please stop using the ATM. This is ATM card trapping. This is when the attackers are able to trap your ATM. So your ATM gets stuck in the ATM machine, and you think that that's what it is. So you want to come the following day or go and report to the bank the following day. But the criminals will be able to come back and get hold of your ATM card. So if this happens to you, the best is to make sure you call your bank and have it sorted out. So now we come to mobile money fraud. PIN hacking can be done in several ways, shoulder surfing, guessing, and all that. I know there are some people on the call who are using their date of birth as their PIN, very dangerous, and try to avoid that, right? So there are several ways to hack your PIN, and there's also something called SIM swap fraud. I think in Ghana, it will be difficult to perform this, but in some jurisdictions, it's very easy to do that because they accept online card swapping and all that, and this can happen online. Sometimes you also have the insider committing or collaborating with criminals. This has actually happened in the past, but currently there are good systems in place at the telcos and other places to make sure that this is minimized and doesn't happen. Okay, so SMS scam. So somebody sends you an SMS and then tells you that the money needs to be reversed and plead with you. You do the reversal only to find out that nothing came to your wallet. For teachers' calls, you get somebody calling you that you won a lottery and all that, and then you have to send something. You do that, and then you find yourself in trouble. Emotional calls. Somebody calls you pleading with you that he needs help, he's so desperate and all that. Playing on emotion. This is actually a scam, not necessarily a fraud yet, but people play with that and then they commit fraud. Investment or loan scam. And this is actually credit to the Singapore scam alert website. And so on this note, I want to also show you that there are actually advisories. Let me go here. This is the website. Okay, you can go here and see a lot of scam alerts and information. You can also go to the Ghana Cybersecurity Authority website. There are some advisories. You can come to the advisory and see some advice there and so forth, right? Okay, so yeah, live demo. So we are going to have some hands-on, and I believe I'll plead with you, Dr. Chris, if you can give me about 50 minutes for the live demo, would that be okay?
Yes, please, you can go ahead. Yes, please.
Thank you. So again, I want to repeat the disclaimer, very, very important, because I know, and oftentimes people are always tempted when they learn the skill, they want to implement it, they want to use it and commit crime. If you do that, please, I'm reminding you once more, you will find yourself in trouble and you have nobody to blame but yourself. Our goal here is to show people how the criminals do it so that they understand why they are told not to do some things, right? Okay, so live demo 1, So we have a scenario. Scenario one. The fraudster wants to garner password of a victim who uses an online services such as social media, school portal, online banking, and so forth. What are some of the techniques available to the fraudster? Phishing attack, a very popular one. We talked about it. Some of the tools that can be used if we are using our favorite attacking operating system, Kali, and we can use the set toolkit. And so what I will be doing is that I'm going to actually do this live. So if you are on the call, you will see what will happen. Don't be frightened. Your computer is not going to be hacked, but you will see exactly what the hackers see and then what you are going to also see at your end. So on this note, so at this point, it seems some things will be very sensitive, what I'm going to show. So just bear with me if I have to pause the screen sharing. But first of all, I am in my box. I'm going to log into my AWS platform. Of course, you can see my private key file, but I can change it at any time. And you are not seeing the private key itself. You only saw the file. So I'm actually in my AWS platform. So I'm going to start the set toolkit. Okay, so this is the tool that the attackers use, right? So the first one is social engineering, and that's what we want to do. That's the subject matter here. And you can see that there are several social engineering attack vectors here. Okay, one of them I've mentioned, but we are not going to do it here. Infectious media generator. This is why you are not supposed to go and take a flash drive lingering around. Maybe you found it in the washroom and your mind tells you that, oh, Dr. Owari just left his flash drive, or Dr. Amanda Chris left her flash drive here. So I can go and pick and look at what is in the flash drive. But what you have is a malware. So avoid it. And this is what they can use to generate such a flash drive. So, but my target here is to use the website attack vector. So I'll go for 2. And then also use credential harvester. Because remember in our scenario, the attacker wants to garner password, right, of the victim, right? So I go for 3 to do credential harvesting. And this is where it gets interesting. At this point, I can actually clone the website, import a clone website, or let set toolkit clone the website automatically. So on this note, I'm going to, for the first one, I'm going to use Gmail just for a quick demonstration, but I'm going to also do a challenge to members on the call, whether I can use some of their platforms for that. I've actually approached some people in the banking industry, whether they can allow me to use their banking website, online banking website for demo. And so far, nobody was bold enough to give me that permission. In fact, the best answer I got was that I should try and use foreign banks. I shouldn't use local banks, if not, I'll get myself in trouble. I know some of them are on the call and they are waiting to see whether Siraj is not going to do the right thing or not. So I'm going to disappoint them. I'm not going to use any bank in Ghana to find myself in trouble. Maybe I'll use UPSA, one of the portals, just to demonstrate to staff and students that you have to be on the lookout. And I believe I have that permission, don't I?
Please don't use UPSA.
Okay. Okay, so let's use Gmail, right? Okay, so I'll go for templates. We can use Twitter, but okay, let's just go for this one. And okay, so first of all, I need to know my public IP address. I'm pausing the screen to capture the public IP address from my portal so that I don't get anybody trying to play with my portal. So just bear with me. I've just paused the screen. I'm just going to copy the, I'll be with you, don't worry. My public IP address. Okay, so it's 52. Anyway, this public IP address, you are going to have it anyways, just that I don't want you to see my AWS details, 54.152, so 54.152, 98.205. Okay, so I'll unpause the screen sharing. So let me pause and then move away from my AWS before I forget. Okay, good. Okay, so this is my public IP address. I believe I've typed it correctly. If not, we'll have issues. So I'm going for, okay, let's go for 2 Google. Okay, so now on the call, can you visit this link? Of course, it could be, I'm going to paste something in the chat, and I want just one person to, oh, you're not seeing my screen, sorry. So I've unpaused it. So at this point, I want somebody to visit this, this link. Okay, it's in the chat. So somebody should click the link. Don't be worried, your computer is not going to be hacked, but we are going to see something from our end. If you are afraid of doing it, I'll do it from my end. Okay, so okay, so let me also do it here so that we don't waste time, because probably some people will be afraid to do it. Okay, so, oh, come on, HTTP, it seems, what was it?
Yes, I clicked on it and
yeah.
It's giving me, we are having trouble finding that site.
Okay, fine. It seems I didn't type the
to server.
Yeah, you're right. So don't worry. Let me just do it again. It's supposed to be port 80. So just give me a second. At this point, so let me just do it again. Credential harvesting. Probably I didn't type the IP address well. Okay, so let me just type it again. Going to my AWS account, because I'm doing back and forth, and I'm trying to battle with time too. So just bear with me.
No, just take your time and explain.
Okay, that would be fine. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so let's see. Paste this. Enter. Okay, so 2. Okay. HTTP. Okay, so please try again. So my antivirus just caught it. So try again. Let me send a link to your group. The group, maybe the one I sent was wrong, but this one is working. So you can see that my antivirus was able to help me here. By the way, this is not to promote AVG. It just, and I've even given myself out because people will now know that Siraj is using
Okay,
AVG.
so I clicked on it, and well, it says sign in with your Google account.
Perfect.
Email, password,
Perfect.
sign in.
Perfect. So this is it. So you are seeing this. Is that also? So
yes, I'm seeing that.
So a regular user who is not paying attention, of course, in this demo, I'm using an IP address, but I could have actually bought a domain name that looks like something like Gmail with a double L, okay, .com, something like this. So, and send you a very well-crafted email, this link. You click it, you are going to see something like this. Because this is what we call phishing attack. So it looks like it's your regular Gmail, but Doc, can you type credentials? But obviously don't type the correct credentials. Let's see whether we can capture it here. I want you to do it instead of me doing it. So this is
what should I do?
So type in
type your UPSA, but not with the correct credential.
Password, exactly, not with the correct password. So
password,
type in.
yes.
Okay, I'll use my Gmail.
Okay, good. Okay,
yeah.
Good.
So I've typed the email address.
Okay, so type the password and
I'm going to use a different password.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
not your real password.
Not your real password. If not, it will be exposed here. We'll see it here.
And I should sign in.
Yes, sign in. And take note of what happens when you sign in. Take note of what happens.
So when I sign in,
exactly,
the first thing that came was that, do I want to save my password?
Okay, that is your browser. This is your browser working. So obviously you can say no. It's
no,
so that the sign in will go through. Yeah.
And then it's written, we are having trouble finding that site.
Okay.
We can't connect to the server.
Okay, so I'm coming. Let me do it from my end. Okay, so let me just say password. I wish we are able to, we are giving the permission to use the UPSA, one of your portals. It will not be bad. But the idea is that if we had everything going through, I don't know what is happening on your PC, but if I had entered it, all right, what will happen is that I will see your username and password here. Okay, so you can see that. Let me log out. Let me cancel this one and exit from this, and also edit again. Okay, so what a criminal would do. So now I'm coming to UPSA, but I'm not going to, of course, just to show you how the criminals operate. So they come to UPSA, they do an OSINT. They probably don't know the login page of UPSA, isn't it? So they can come and do, let's say, site, UPSA portal, okay? So they get to know what are some of the portals at UPSA website. And of course, they see student portal, looks interesting. Okay, so this is a very nice student portal. So I can use this, okay? So this educational institution, and of course, once again, nothing criminal going on here. Okay, so I've logged out from my account, I believe. So let me check and be sure. Oh, come on. Okay. So I'm just demonstrating to you how easy it is for the criminals to clone a website. So as you can see, I currently do not have UPSA, UPSA on my system, isn't it? But let's see what is going to happen now. I just want to be sure I'm actually on the AWS system. Yeah, 192.168.134. Okay. 192.168. Yeah. So this is the AWS system. So let's do it again. And this time around, our target is to clone the UPSA website. So I do again social engineering. I do website credential harvesting. And then I'm going to do site clone. So I'll go for 2. The earlier I went for the first one. This time around, I'm going for the second option. And I'm going to clone the, so this is where, oh, come on. This is where I enter my, my public IP address. Okay, so 54. And what was it again? 54. 54.152, 54.152.98. We have a lot of demos anyway, so sorry about the delays. Some of them will come question and answer session, we'll take them up. So this is it. So here I enter that particular UPSA student portal. Okay, hopefully, yeah, that's the portal. I do enter. Okay, so Prof, try visiting that page again. I mean, sometimes it may bring the Gmail because it may need to be refreshed, but let's see whether, so just look at that. Look at the interface. I just cloned the UPSA student portal. So if somebody mischievously sends this to the students, okay, it could be a staff portal or something like that, and then they enter their username and password. What happens? Right. So the attacker gets to see it. You see? And then they submit. Okay? And this is what I was telling you to look out for. You see, when I submitted, it immediately went to the correct website, but it didn't log in. So this is a good information for you. So immediately that happens, the system automatically went back to the correct one, automatically. But look at what happens at the attacker side. Look at it. This is the password I typed.
Yeah. Yeah.
See? Yep. Yeah. So any of you can do it from where you are, and I'll see the password from here. Okay. So that is our scenario one.
Let me do it.
Okay, do it. Yeah, you can do it. Then we move to the next demo.
So I should type any ID.
Yes, any ID and any password from that. You also saw the portal, right?
ID, so I'm just doing something.
Yeah, just something. Yeah. Okay, Prof, this is your password.
Oh. What is it?
This is it. You type This is it. Can you see it on the screen? Is that what you type? That's it. It's SAP you or somebody, so maybe somebody. Okay,
No,
so
that's not me.
Okay,
I typed
okay.
something else.
Okay, so some people, I know you can see me. Some people are just doing it on the call. So I can't know. Yeah, so people are just.
That is mine, bad man.
So you can see it. So case closed. So case closed. So you can see some people are doing it. So I'm sitting down in my office and I'm gathering all this password from all these victims, these users, just like that, remotely. So that's it. So let's move. We have a lot of practicals, and I want us to benefit from all of them. So we'll leave social engineering and go to the next one. So let me just exit. But I believe this is clear, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let's go on. So scenario number 2. First one. Okay, yes, sir.
I think that somebody's hand is up. So
yeah.
maybe,
I also saw it. Okay, yeah.
Before the person lose track of his chain of thoughts. So
that's fine. We can take it.
Yeah.
Ado Baldwin.
Bobby, you have a question? Ado Baldwin, your hand is up.
Could we please wait for him to finish his presentation?
Okay.
Then
very well.
the question and answer.
All right.
Okay. So this is what is really on my heart, and you understand. So Fraudster wants to hijack the WhatsApp account of a victim. The attack techniques are there, pre-testing, social engineering again. But in this case, they will just abuse WhatsApp feature. So if I want to take over Dr. Owari's account or Prof's account, I'm in the group with Prof. And what I can do is that I would tell Prof, and I've actually gotten real life situations on this, right? I've gotten people complaining, they come to me, say that my account has been compromised. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, somebody's account was compromised, and the person is a lecturer. And it was so embarrassing. The person called him from a church group. So the reason why I'm mentioning his case is that that's why I wore my mask earlier. Do not assume that everybody you are seeing or talking to is the right person. It could be a bad person in the church group. So the fact that a person calls you and tells you, I'm in the mosque group with you or church group with you, and we are doing a cleanup, and I want you to give me a code that will be given to you, and then we'll use it to upgrade your account or something like that. These are all lies. In fact, the catch here is that do not give your PIN or any OTP that comes to your phone to anybody. In fact, I don't know how to overemphasize this. I wish I can repeat this like 10,000 times on the call for it to go down very well. The reason I'm saying this is that I've actually had a WhatsApp group. I tell people and I keep telling them, don't give any PIN to anybody who calls you. But trust me, it will shock you. Before you know, somebody's account in the group gets hacked. And they'll call you, sorry, my account is hacked. What can I do? I said, so when I was saying the message, you just didn't follow, right? And it's the most common way people hijack people's accounts, the bad guys. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to show you my my phone. Okay, I'm going to plug my phone so that you can see my phone screen. Please, I'm going to show you my live phone, so don't take snapshots. So let me go and use this feature. So let me see. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so it's come to the Mac. So give me a second. Okay, let me see if you can see my screen. Okay, good. So QuickTime, let me bring my QuickTime to show you my screen. So I really want to be practical here. I'm going to show you what they are doing behind the scenes. Probably I'll do it, probably I'll not execute it, but just to show you, I want to record my screen so that I can see my screen. And I will just, even though we have a scenario, I'm going to repeat the scenario. Oh, my face is showing, don't worry. So I'm going to change it to my phone. Okay, so I believe now you can see my phone. You can see my phone on your screen, right?
Yes.
This is my phone.
Yes.
Good. Okay,
Yes.
so you can see here, link devices. This is just an advice. It's not in our scenario, but it's something I want to mention to you. You can see that here you can link device, and I believe almost everybody knows this, right? So it's not a secret. So, but it's something you have to be checking regularly. If you are not sure somebody's reading or has linked your phone to a device and is looking at your chat and all that, this is something you want to look at. But our point here is that this is what I want to use. If I come to account and I go to change number, okay, here, this is where it gets interesting. So I go next, okay, then I type one of my phone numbers. My phone, of course, the WhatsApp account, I have the fraudster, quote unquote. I'm not a fraudster anyway, but I'm talking about a fraudster. That's what they do. So they type the account here, and then the next one, they type your WhatsApp account, okay? So when they go next, a code will be sent to you. So when the code is sent to you, then, or before they even proceed to the next stage, they will now call you. Dr. Wari, I'm actually calling you from the, I don't know your church anyway, Doc, but just forgive me. I'm calling you from the, I'm calling you from the Presby. Is that Presby? I missed it.
Okay.
Okay, so let's just use that. So I'm calling from the Presby Boys Church group, whatever. And then, okay, let's not be church bias, but let's say Presec Boys or that day, right? They are now on top. Accra is winning. So I'm calling you, we just won, our group is now full. And so we are migrating users to a different group. And because you know Presec really won the competition, you may be thinking that indeed it's true that the group is full, and therefore they are doing this legitimate change of group and all that. So you fall for the pretext. So now I tell you that I'm the admin. So when a code will be sent to you, when the code comes to you, give the code to me. So this is the catch. Immediately you give the code to me, I complete the account change on my phone, and I now become you in all your groups. It's as simple as that. I become you in all your group, and you get kicked out. But when that happens to you, don't panic. WhatsApp is aware of that. So what they will do is that they would tell you that if you didn't initiate this, then sign in with your phone number and then come back on WhatsApp again. But what will happen to you is that you will be kicked out of from all the groups that you belong to. So you have to tell the admins to re-add you. So that's a price you have to pay. So also to avoid that, please let's use this two-step verification. It's good because it gives you a PIN and also link your account to your email and all that, so you can always recover. But you see, anytime I talk about two-step verification, I also want to warn users not to have or develop a false sense of security. People think that, oh, because I have two-step verification, anybody at all calls me, I can deal with the person and do whatever the person is saying I should do. That is a false sense of security, and you shouldn't do that. It's just a layer of security to make it harder for somebody to take over your account, but it doesn't mean you should go and sleep on security. You still have to practice what I call good cyber security hygiene. Okay, so let's go to our next scenario. Let me see, where are we in the slide? This is the third one. Scammer wants to get money from as many. Oh, okay. So, oh wow, I removed my phone from my phone, but quickly, let me share a very practical and a real life situation. Interestingly enough, when I was actually preparing for this webinar, somebody contacted my company. And so in order to protect the person's identity, I'm calling the person a fraudster on the phone, but she mentioned her name, but obviously I know she's a fraudster. And I even called her, but I want you to see the conversation. It's a real life situation, trust me on this. Let me go back to my, so this is it. Hopefully I've hidden enough information so that you don't see it. So look at the flow, but you know, a fraudster wanted to frost a cybersecurity person. So that's what happened. So she said hi, and then my autoresponder took care of that. And then she said, I'm Madam Josephine. Of course, if you are Josephine on the call, we are not talking about you. And this is somebody who was trying to be mischievous. So, and then I said, we are tertiary courses, please, how may we assist you? And then she said, have you ever won or stake lottery before? By the way, I've reported this person to the police. So if that person happens to be on the call, well, that's the information to the person. So then she said, then this is your best big opportunity for you to win big time, big, okay? Then he said, these league numbers are not something that you will be thinking that you are going to fail or lose. Blah, blah, blah. And then she said, if I may ask, are you interested in joining or winning? So I didn't want to commit myself because I had in mind that I will be showing this in the webinar. So I said, wow, who did this shout? Okay, so somebody really screamed. Are we okay? Okay, so that's fine. So I said, what's next? And she said, okay, so what's next? I was also playing along. I started playing along because I knew when I said what's next, she's now going to tell me their trick. So she said, so this is the scam. This is the scam. Before you have access to our unfailing, too sure, you need to subscribe for only 100 Ghana cedis. You are going to make me super rich by joining a lottery group so that you share secret lottery numbers to me. And when I stake them, I become a millionaire. And now you are just asking me 100 Ghana cedis before you give me this access. So that's what she started. And then she continued, oh, wow, somebody's number just showed on the screen. So she gave me a number and all that. So let me pause and then scroll past the number she sent. The number that was sent, so now I can come back to sharing. The number that she sent was the mobile money number. So I told her to give me the number so that I can see if I can send the money. And she gave me, and the number she gave me was a guy's name. So you can see that they work in groups, and she even confessed to that. And so I asked her, but you are Josephine. So who is David? And now she tells me that's our office account number, okay? I'm not working as an individual. And I said, please, can you send me official email? So this is what I want to share with you. I don't want to bore you too much with this conversation. But I started telling her that she should send me an official email from her official address so that I know that I'm dealing with an official person. Obviously, she's not going to do this because she's a scammer. So she now tells me they are working a group and all that. And I told her to send me the email. Then she started getting angry all of a sudden. Okay, so let me cut the long story short. The long story short was that I knew she was just a scammer. And then she was now complaining that just 100 Ghana cedis, and I started asking her so many questions. I've also paused the screen because she sent me a picture pretending to be somebody legitimate. But pictures can be taken online and used. Okay, so I didn't fall for that at all. And at the end of the day, I used the opportunity to advise her to stop the scam and fraud that they are committing. And this, you can see the date. This happened when? This happened, I think, about October 14th. You see, just on your screen. So this recent thing is something that the criminals are just doing and they are engaged in. So you have to be on the lookout and then avoid that. Oh, okay. So some people are telling me to take my time. Thank you very much for that, because you see, I'm trying to waste with time. That's why I'm brushing through. But if that would be a request that would be accepted, it seems people want me to take time and then do the demo in a way that they will love. Do I have that from the moderator? I'll be.
Yeah, no, we'll be doing part 2 and part 3 and all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so let me just start them. So please, members of the call, this is for your information. So don't be worried. And also, I believe the recording will be made available. So don't be worried. You can always take your time and watch the recording so that we can benefit from what we have. Okay, so thank you very much, Doc. Okay, so scenario number 4. Okay, so attacker wants to crack password of examination files. Hey, are the lecturers in the house? All the lecturers.
Yes. Yes.
We are going all the exam script that you password. We are going to crack all of them here. Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do this.
HOD, are you ready?
We are also ready. We are ready.
Okay, so lectures on the call. This is for you. Okay, so let's start. I'm going into my docs. I have been able to, let's say, get an exam script. So let me see. Okay, so I got this exams script from a lecturer. Of course, I'm making a scenario up, but you get to understand why. And I want to open it. Oh, wow, there's a password. So if I type anything other than a password and unlock, I'm not able to get in. So what do I have before me? I have tools to crack. So I'm going to do the cracking. Again, this is for educational purposes. It's not to be used against anybody and not to be used in an illegal manner. If you do, you'll find yourself in trouble, and we are going to see that as well. So bear with me, I have some tools. So what I'll do is that I need a password. I need a password list, right? Which contains your password. Oftentimes you have lecturers, you tell them to use strong password on their files, they don't understand. So this is why we are demonstrating this. So you get to understand why putting or using weak passwords on your exam script is just a no. Okay, so we want you to see exactly what we are talking about. So I'm using a tool called Crunch to generate the password list. So let's say the lecturer, I know it's a churchgoer, is likely to have church in his password. I will use something like this. And maybe after that, he uses 1, 2, 3. Okay, so all these characters, Crunch can use the combination and give me possible entries for that particular set of characters. But let's keep it simple. Let's go with a very bad user or a bad scenario. Let me not say user, let me be gentle on my words. A bad scenario. The lecturer was born in 1980, right? So I know he always liked using his date of birth as his password. This is a very weak password, right? So he thinks that sometimes he can use it, his own date of birth, he can do it this way, okay, 80, 19, or sometimes do it, just using the same set of numbers and thinking that nobody can guess the password. That is his mindset, right? Because he thinks that, oh, okay, all the students know that I'm born in 1980, but if I interchange the numbers, they will not be able to guess. Okay, fine, that's what you think. So I'm going to use the 1980, okay, and I'm going to ask Crunch to generate a password list. So the output, I'm going to say, so password list.txt. I don't need to put a txt, but that's fine. So Crunch is giving me all the possible combination of 1980. And you can see, and it has generated a file. So let's see. Oh, come on. Let's see. I now have a password list. So I can cut this and then pipe it to tail so that I see the last, you see, these are the ending parts. I'm just using tail to see all of them. Okay, so this is not a step needed in this particular approach, but I'm just seeing that I'm just looking at the possible numbers that have been created. Okay, so now I have my tools. Do you know the tool that we are going to use here? We are going to use John the Ripper, right? So this is not John the Baptist, but John the Ripper. Okay, so now I know that the document is a zip, it's a PDF document. So I'm going to do PDF to John, okay? And then I'm going to call the exam scripts and I'm going to put that in the hash, okay? So the way John works is that it needs the hash in a format that it will be able to crack. And there are several tools. So if it's a Word document, I need doc to John. If it's a zip document, I need zip to John, and they are all inbuilt in Kali. So I do this, I get the hash file, and I say enter. So now I have everything set to execute my attack against the file. So now I go for John, Mr. John. I go for the word list, okay? And then the exam scripts to be cracked. So let me hit enter and let's see whether we are going to get the password. Enter. Oh, what happened? Unable use, okay, so invalid exam script. Oh, sorry. Okay, so if you are talking and you are doing your demo, that's what happens to you. I'm not supposed to feed the exam script here. I'm supposed to feed the hash file, okay, because that's what I gathered from the exam script. So this is what I need. So enter. Okay, so that's it, right? This is the password. That's it. It's cracked. Okay, so let's test it. Maybe you think I'm playing tricks on you. So let's open the file now. Exam scripts. Okay, so 1818. Wow, that's the exam script for us. So have you seen the exam question? Who can answer it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you go down?
The students are watching.
Go down. Go down.
The students are here.
Go down.
We are here. We are here.
We are here,
Go down.
Okay, so the point is that I know they are here, but the point is that I'm letting them know that now their lecturers know their tactics. So, and also letting them know that it's illegal. So the obvious answer here is that it's illegal. But you see, the point is, whether you have this webinar or not, they go and learn these things. So this is why, so next time when your HOD or your dean is telling you, please, when you are submitting your exam script, use a strong password. This is one of the main reasons we are being told to do that. So at least now you know. Of course, this particular technique can be used for good. Imagine you have a very good, your own PDF document. Maybe it's your thesis or something, but it's a password that you use and you forgot it. This can be a tool for you to use to crack that particular, but because you know that, oh, my password is either it's a church, police, mosque, or Ghana or something, or with some combination, then you create your password list and use it to crack your, so that is for a legitimate purpose. But the same tool, so double-edged sword, right? The same tool is also used by the bad guys to do this. So the fact that you think you use this particular combination of password and you think that nobody can guess, okay, so now you know this is what the bad guys will do and they'll get in, okay? So let's go to the next one. Attacker wants to manipulate victims, but okay, so this, I can do this quickly. Okay, so this is the last demo. I believe I can go ahead, right? This is the last demo, then I'll give the protection tips. I can go ahead with this, right?
Yes, Doc, 5 minutes, then there's a time for question time. So,
yes, so exactly. So this is the last demo. This is the last demo. So let's look at the scenario. The scenario says that attacker wants to manipulate a victim via the browser. And of course, there are several tools that can be used to attack the browser, right? So I'm going to use a popular one called Beef. But this time around, I'm going to attack myself. I'm not going to attack anybody on call. I'm not going to ask anybody to join me on this. So obviously, I think it will need this, okay? Okay, so this is a very powerful, a very scary tool, okay? So when this tool is used, what will happen is that, okay, so Beef, so I go with Beef and I'm aim. So you see now the target is that I need to get somebody to visit a particular page. There are technicalities here, no need to go too much in details. If a website is has or is vulnerable to what we call XSS attack or vulnerability, right? If the website is vulnerable with this, what I can do is that I can hook that particular, the users of that particular website with the payload. So just because you visited a vulnerable website, I can hook you on my Beef and I can exploit your browser. So that's not the approach I'm going to use. The approach I'm going to use here is that I'm going to go through my IP address. So let's see. I have to prepare the payload. So I go this way. So I need to have my IP address just for demonstration purposes. I need to know my IP address and know, so ifconfig and copy my IP address because I'm going to attack myself, right? So I'm not going to attack anybody on the call. So I copy this. So don't worry about what I'm doing. What I'm doing is that I'm preparing the link to send to the victim. Okay, so if the victim visit this link, look at what will happen. So let me go to my browser and I'm going to save this here. Okay, so the visit, this website can be something different. I can change this website to be something appealing and all that. So to hook you in. Now, look at my Beef. What happens in the Beef? See, I have the target. I know his browser, and anyways, I'm exposing myself too much here, but the person has actually become a zombie to me. okay? And I can issue commands. I can play with a person's browser. I can let pop-ups appear here. I can let maybe even Gmail appear here. I can, so many things I can be playing with your browser, especially if your browser is vulnerable. And you can see clearly that actually under normal circumstances, my antivirus would have picked this, but I personally disabled this. And sometimes some antivirus will not be able to even pick some of this attack. And that's what makes it dangerous. Now look at, let's just do a simple one, social engineering. Okay, so let's do, which one? I can do so many of them, right? So let me do the Google one, just for a simple use case. So I do this and look at what happened. Automatically, the person was taken to a Gmail login page, right? But this is not legitimate. So I come here and I type my password SIM, right? And I sign in. So when I do this, what happens? The attacker sees my password. Can you see my password? Yeah, that's the password. So this is hooking your browser. So again, the advice here is that do not be visiting a website arbitrarily, website that you don't trust and all that. It's very important you know the site that you visit. And if you are not sure, there's something called virus filter. But anyways, I'm coming to the protection. I'll glance through the protection so that we can take questions. So that's the last scenario. So these are the protection, right? So please do not share your PIN with anybody. Your PINs are supposed to be known by only you and you only. Don't give PIN or OTP code to anybody who calls for it. That's very dangerous. Install antivirus or anti-malware and update them regularly. And also make sure that you don't develop a false sense of security. You know, usually when people have antivirus or anti-malware on their machines, they think that, oh, well, I can do anything at all because I have a very powerful antivirus or anti-malware on my machine. That is what I call developing false sense of security. There are so many ways to read antivirus, and you may find yourself in trouble if your antivirus is not able to trigger it. Just as we've seen here, when I did the beef, you can see that my antivirus couldn't trigger that I'm being attacked, right? And so, and meanwhile, I have a very powerful antivirus, but it couldn't see this. So that's how dangerous it is. And you want to also take advantage, make sure you don't download untrusted apps. That's very important. This website is something I want to give you, but I have to explain it a little bit. So give me some time. This is a very powerful website, but of course, sometimes it has false positive, type 1 error, right? But it's a good start. What you can do with this website is that you can actually, of course, if the file is a sensitive file, you don't want to use this website. If not, your file gets to their server, right? So if you suspect that a file could be a malicious file or not, you can come and upload it here. Again, if only it's not confidential. If it's confidential, note that you are uploading it to Virus Total, their website. But if it's, let's say, a game, a mini game, somebody's giving you a game you want to install, I will ask you to avoid that. But if you really, really want to do it, nothing stops you from scanning, first of all, scanning it with your own anti-malware and also uploading it here to be scanned. You'll get to appreciate why this site is a very powerful one. You can also, not only a file, you can actually put a link here. So those of you who receive link on WhatsApp, right, asking you to go and click and do something, come and put the link here. What this site will do for you is that it's going to check if the site is flagged by any of the anti-malware engines, right? And then it will let you know. You can also use a hash. Instead of using the file, you can use the hash of the file and all that. Calculating hash is a separate topic we'll deal with in our subsequent webinar. So let me do an example. For example, if I come to the google.com.
Hello, Doc.
Yes, we are done, right?
Yes, so our time is up.
Okay, thank you. I think we are. I'm done anyway, so I think it's okay. So using this site, you can also go to this site to check if your email has been breached, it has been found in a breach, so that you can change your password and all that. So on this note, I will end here and then we'll take questions. Sorry for the overtime. Okay, so thank you very much.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so it's time for questioning and questioning time. So if anybody has any question, kindly feel free to ask questions related to today's topic. If anyone has any questions,
they should raise their hands and then you call them.
Sure, yeah. Okay. Krobil Wisdom.
Hello. Good.
Yes,
Good,
please.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please, I wanted to know, as an IT manager, you have been employed in a company to manage the affairs of the company, but you're not an IT security expert. Already, the company deals in online services whereby their platform has been hacked. So, as an IT manager, what are you to do to stop this? At the moment it has been hacked, are you going to advise the company to shut down the software till it has been resolved, or what are the steps that you give to the company so that the threat will be eliminated from the company?
Okay. Dr. Sirij, should I let the second person answer, and then you?
Anyhow you want. Anyhow you advise.
Doc, let's get the questions. Maybe 5 questions, then we can answer.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then you have to take them from me. Okay.
Salam Sasu.
Oh, okay. Please, what I wanted to know is, with the recent browsers that we use now, one of the key features that they've implemented is the login profiles and autocomplete passwords. And I feel like sometimes these things can be vulnerable, but it's like it has become part of the technology that you have to use as you are using the browser. So how best can we, because it's always frustrating to always keep like logging in your details anytime. For instance, like if I want to log into my Gmail every day, I have to log in my password. But with the Chrome now, when you log in your profile, there is no need for you to enter your username and your password again. The moment you just click on it, automatically it's open and you have access to whatever that you need. So how best can one be immune from threats when you are using the browser?
Okay, Doc, I think, okay, there is another Hamed Salim. Please, you can talk.
Salam, please, I want to ask, how is the payload created?
Can you come again?
Please, I'm saying that concerning the payload, how is it created?
Okay. All right.
Yeah, he has to be specific. Which payload? Which payload? He has to be specific.
Hamed, can you be specific?
Because there are several payloads. Is it talking about malware payload or what? He has to be specific here.
Both, please.
Okay, no problem. You can proceed, Doc. I think I get what he's trying to ask.
Okay. Dr. Bakasa, please, you can ask your question.
Yeah, it's Dr. Banasika, actually.
Okay, okay.
Thank you for the presentation. You did a scenario on how a hacker can take over somebody's mobile phone, that is mobile phone spoofing. And my question is, these days, the trend is becoming really frequent. I mean, a lot of people have their mobile phones hacked and taken over. So what exactly can the user do to prevent that, mobile phone spoofing or ID spoofing, please? Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Abudulai Latif. I think that will be the last question so that Dr. Sirij can answer.
Yes, please. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We've learned that the weakest link to a system is the employee or the human being. So I want to know, apart from taking the person through the training and the awareness about security breaches, how can you motivate an employee so that the person cannot compromise your system? For example, assuming an organization someone is receiving 1,000 Ghana cedis, and then someone calls and then maybe manipulate the person that he will give him 2,000 Ghana cedis for some information or for some security something. Then the person, that's the weakest point. The person will be convinced that, oh, let me take the 2,000 Ghana, then release the information to the person. So how can we motivate employees to avoid some of these things?
Okay, thank you very much. I think, Doc, you answered the few,
Yes, I'll try and be brief because I can see more hands up. Okay, so the first question has to do with how somebody being an employee is employed as an IT person, but is not into cybersecurity, but a breach has occurred. So what can the person do? I believe that's a question. So it depends on what organization we are talking about, because now we have something we call critical information infrastructure organizations. If you fall in this category, now in Ghana, you should be registered with the Cybersecurity Authority. In that case, you also have somebody we call a point of contact and all that. And you should have a cybersecurity officer in that organization. It's a must, and have your tools in place and everything. Even with that, you can still have security breaches. And when that happens, you have to report it to the cybersecurity office. Of course, the cybersecurity emergency response units, the CERT in your particular sector. If your sector doesn't have a CERT organization, then they have to report to the cybersecurity emergency response units, GH. Of course, that is the cybersecurity authority. So that's the generic one. So you have to report, and they can advise you appropriately. We know what has happened to some governmental organizations, and we know that the national security came in and the cybersecurity authority came in and all that. So whether you are a critical information infrastructure owner or not, you can still make use of the cybersecurity authority. But at the end of the day, if you don't have that, and that has happened, you still have to consult, cybersecurity authority. I don't want to advertise any particular company, but there are several companies that look into some of these things, and then you can consult them, and then they can come and assist you. I believe that should answer that. And then the second question has to do with autocomplete and auto login in some tools and all in some applications. Of course, there are so many ways that people implement web applications that makes them too vulnerable. In fact, this is not a class for ethical hacking in details. Like we will be explaining and demonstrating how web applications are easily vulnerable and can easily be hacked and all that. Sometimes they try to strike a different a balance between convenience and security. Okay, so they make you do the remember me, and then when you come in, you automatically logged in and all that. After a while, then you log out and all that. Some strict platforms will not allow that. They will log you out immediately you close the browser. So depending on the nature and the sensitivity of the application, the appropriate security needs to be implemented accordingly. So this is why you need to do what we call auditing or pen testing against your applications to know what the risks and the vulnerabilities are, right? So that you can advise appropriately. Don't consume any application just because the application is working. The application can be working all right, but it can be vulnerable. I know colleagues who say that when application is working, don't touch it. But I disagree. When the application is working, it doesn't mean the security people shouldn't touch it. They need to really assess the application and know whether it's vulnerable or not, and then advise appropriately. That's the second question. The third question, he's asking how is the payload created? Now, when he said payload, I wanted him to be specific, but I'm sure he's talking about the malware payload, right? So how is the malware, and I think that's what he emphasized. Malware payload is talking about the virus itself, what actually gets to exploit the vulnerability in the particular machine or device. So how's the malware created? There are so many tools that are used to create the malware. There are automated tools. I don't know whether it's appropriate to mention the tools here, but they are there. Right, I don't know whether it's appropriate because malware area is also, okay, well, I can just caution, it's a very dangerous place. First of all, dangerous to you, the person creating it. Secondly, it is completely illegal. If you create malware and you deploy it, you will be found guilty. If you come to Kali, we have MSF Venom. We also have Veil. We also have so many tools, right? So many of them. and that can be used to create payloads. But of course, these payloads, unless you have encoded it and done some antiviral, anti-malware evasion and all that, it can easily be detected on the by anti-malware software. You can also create your own payload if you know how to program, right? So if a developer who knows how to program with C, C++, and all that, he can create his own payload, okay? So it doesn't matter. In fact, sometimes you can even create your payload with PowerShell and all that. That is a customized payload that is created. But for educational purposes, you need to know about some of these things and know how to counter them. So that is about how to create payload. The fourth question has to do with how to prevent mobile phones. Yeah. Okay, well, so because this is why I wanted to really finish my slide. So I was giving the protection tips, and I think I mentioned some of them anyways. One of the most common prevention is to make sure that you do not share your OTP or what is otherwise called one-time password or one-time PIN, your pins and things that come to your machine, right? So or your phones, don't share it with anybody. Somebody calls you, a PIN is sent to your account, and give the PIN to me and all that. Please, please don't do it. If you are not sure, ask somebody who knows. In fact, that is the most common attack vector I've seen in my practice, right? I've seen that most people who come to me, immediately they come to me and they say, my WhatsApp is hacked. The first thing I say is that you gave your PIN to somebody, isn't it? I'm not saying 99%, 100% of the cases I dealt with, that is what happened. So that's why I brought that scenario and we demoed it. So that's one of the things that you need. And also, do not install apps that are not verified or well-known or from official sources, okay? Apps that you put on your phone matter a lot, okay? Do not go and enable third-party apps that are unverified to be installed on your phone. If you also give your phone physically, physical security also is key here. If you give your phone to somebody, you don't know what the person can do and install on your phone. It could be a spyware. Anything you do on your phone, the person can see, the person can even control your phone remotely. Okay, so physical security comes here as well. I believe that should answer the question. I think the last one is saying how to okay, insider threats. This is a very tough one because when you are dealing with human beings have all manner of characters. You don't know when a good worker becomes a bad one. That is the danger we have in the society. You see, when it comes to cybersecurity, and here I'm talking about defensive security, not offensive, we have three main categories of security. We have security controls, We have administrative, we have technical, and then we have physical. Administrative is where we have the policies in place, where we have user training and awareness and all that. That should be in place. Again, even here, you also have to implement things like check and balances. You don't have one person should not be the only person approving and doing everything all by himself. There should be some layer of checks and approval, right? We also have something we call two-person security measures, where you have two, people from different areas. One has to do something for the other to approve and all that, and security defense and all that. So you have to have all these things in place administratively. You also have to have your technical measures in place, where you have your, what we call the SIM. The SIM is security information and event management, where you have event, systems in place that would record logs and activities that are being performed by anybody in the organization. And there should be a superior person in place looking at these logs and knowing what or who is doing what at what time and all that. Okay, log management and so forth. And then you have your physical control. Your physical control measure has to do with how people come and enter into a building, their ID cards, who enters, biometric, and all sensitive places should be well protected. Who has the keys, who opens the door and all that. So, and of course, you have to also monitor the employees very well. Again, this is the last one I want to add to that question. We have the fraud trial. If I can remember very well, we have pressure, we have rationalization, and we have opportunity. This is a fraud trial, as we call it. Pressure is when somebody is under pressure maybe somebody is threatening him, his wife situation has become hard, he needs money for bill and all that. This somebody with a lot of pressure on himself or herself. And then that person has opportunity. He can do something bad, fraudulent in an organization. So if the person is in that particular situation,
hello, Doc.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, our time is fast.
Okay.
The chairperson has to be for another program. So if we can just take
that's fine.
Somebody's hand is up and there's a chat question. If we can just take, then we can be snappy about their responses, then we close.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, so can we please have your question?
Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. In fact, this lecture is so revealing. After listening to the lecture, I don't even know whether I should go online again. Because
you are safe, don't worry.
Yeah. Well, some of us in the language. My question is, in the introduction, you introduce the speaker as ethical hacker. In fact, some of us in that language, we look at these two terms, we see it as oxymoron. Because ethical, we know hacker is somebody has some kind of negative connotation. But how can a hacker be unethical? So that's when I want the explanation from the speaker to tell me, how can a hacker be unethical? So the two words combined, some of us, the language, we are confused.
Okay,
so thank you very
Dr.
much.
Sadat. Thank you. Dr. Siraj, please over to you, a brief one.
Hello, I've been kicked out from the other computer. Internet connectivity just did the worst. Can you hear me on the other line?
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
So yeah, this is why I have to have backup. You see what the advantage of backup? I got kicked out of the other one because of connectivity. So I quickly joined the other computer. Okay. So I had this person. I think he was asking, how can somebody be ethical hacker, right? So okay. So a quick one. We have ethical hackers. Hacking in itself is not anything bad. Hacking started way back. If you are doing something that is not normal, it is termed as hacking, right? Generally, so it could be good, it could be bad. When it is bad and used for criminal purposes, we call it criminal. Okay, so now I'm back. I'm back on that one. So let me.
Hello, Dr. Siraj.
Oh my God, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you very much. I came to the other one and I was speaking. I thought you heard me. Sorry. So what I'm saying is that a criminal hacker is called a cracker. It's not supposed to be called a hacker because hacker is too general. So we have hacking with different colors. I don't like using the color description because they say the bad guys are the ones who are called black hat hackers. The good ones are called the white hat hackers and all that. But that's what is used in the policy. But the point is that you can have a hacker who is using his skills to do good, okay? And this is how the person uses his skills to do good. Example is what I showed you. If I'm able to demonstrate to you that your system is penetrable, it can be penetrated due to weakness A, B, C, D, then I advise you to have measures in place to patch it. If not, the bad guy who will not be prompting you will come in and destroy your system. So in this case, I'm ethical because I've gotten your permission. I tested your system with the same skills that the bad guys will use against your system, and I'll use that information to advise you. In that case, I'm ethical. So I believe that answers the question.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Oh my. This section
I think we should just
has been very, very informative and useful. So ladies and gentlemen, you all agree with me that Dr. Siraj has really enlightened us a lot today on today's section. So all we can say is thank you. On this note, can we call on Reverend Akanferi to bless us with a vote of thanks?
Hello. Yeah,
Hello.
no, the chairperson has to give us a closing remark about this.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry. Shall we invite the chairperson for his closing remarks for the day? So I skipped it. Sorry.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, I'm here. I thought you got too excited about the wonderful presentation by Dr. Siraj with regards to, making sure we are all protected. And so you forgot to remember that I am technically in charge.
Exactly, I'm sorry.
Thank you very much. I would want to few remarks here and there. Once again, let me acknowledge the Pro-Vice, the Pro-VC, and all of you at the ICT or the IT department of UPSA for this wonderful maiden event. I kept talking to Dr. Owari behind the scene. It's been very eventful. Dr. Sherrod has taken us through a lot of the things. He spoke about, this social media attacks or engineering attacks that I'm sure that we started with about a little around 100 and something, but we are ending the program with about 150 participants, which is the first event, I would say, very remarkable. He went on to talk about what do you call that? Those of us who probably get scammed by mobile money fraudsters, he distinguished the differences. He went on, there are several other things he spoke about. But let me add that, wire fraud, or call it wire fraud in America, 2021 alone was almost 6 billion. When I say 6 billion, just imagine Ghana going for half of that money from the almighty IMF, and we have to actually go on our knees to beg them. And so if that is costing the federal government in the US 6 billion fraud alone, well, I mean, internet and combine all of them 6 billion, then it tells you that we are in trouble when it comes to fraud in this part of the world, because then there are some systems, but the systems are not very efficient. He spoke about, he went on to talk about, what do you call it, the footprints, online footprints. He told us what he needs to do. And this morning, in fact, I was watching TV when people's birthday, in fact, somebody's birthday, we were told somebody was, is it 40 or 50? And I thought that, okay, so today is 27th of October, the year of our Lord 2022. And so I can keep that. And if I have that person's, his surname, I should be able to hack into probably some vital information. This, as he spoke about, he touched on ATMs, mobile money, he spoke about all these things. And so as far as I'm concerned, there's been a lot of fraud that is going on in this part of the world. And the likes of all of you, including the university, have a role to play. Dr. Sherrod, don't just limit it to, events like this. If you can broaden it, and I would urge, what's the name? Sponsors. I think the key thing here is sponsors. I believe there will be some sponsors who are watching. I have had some relationship with banks, and you will not believe how much money they lose yearly in terms of, wire fraud, people transferring huge sums of money. But these things don't come to public knowledge, because once it happens, people would quickly go withdrawing their money. So I think that even if a quarter of that money that is lost is invested in programs like this at UPSA, I do believe that we are going to be making a headway. So let me thank all of you for today's program, especially those of you who joined, the students, senior and junior faculty, those of you who joined. I am believing that the next event, which is going to be the second event, some of us will be able to join. Even though I'm hard pressed for time, I still had to sit in and make sure that, I listened to it. Probably I was going to learn something, and I've learned a lot. And so thank you very much. This would be my brief remarks. Once again, kudos to all of you for being part of this, maiden event. And I would have wished that the media would have been invited to join us online, so that whatever we are broadcasting, whatever we are doing, they would have picked excess of it, so that it would be, eventually broadcasted. So the organizers, Dr. Owari, the Dean of the IT department, and all of you, I would want that next time we get the media to also connect, so that whatever we are doing, they can pick parts of it and rebroadcast. That way we'll be impacting to a larger population. Thank you very much once again. Thank you.